In today's video, I'm going to demonstrate on how to create a quick interior perspective drawing. So in my previous video, which probably you can have a look at the link on the upper corner of this video, I constructed the framework of this using AutoCAD. After which I printed out, of course, the results. And currently I'm using a notebook which has translucent paper, which is an A5 size. But before trying to sketch what the details are, you need to make an inventory of what the elements are going to look like by doing a bit of research from the internet. So I've been looking at some elements that I would want to place in. The elements that are important, like say I even want to place in some plants. So it's an inventory. What you need to do is to really look at some of the elements that you like and sketch them out very quickly. So instead of having a collection of images, why not just isolate the elements, lighting fixtures, you have your table, the type of chairs, and what elements that you want to see on, say, the bar counter of this cafe. So I'm going to keep this open onto the side as my reference. I already started tracing over some of the lines that I want. So it's an X-ray version. Now you can of course print this out in hidden line version. What I usually do is I want to see the elements where they are. If it's confusing for you, you try to print them out in hidden line form. So here I'm sketching out the interior construction lines. This has 3 meters. The vanishing point should be here, so I'm correcting this. The person's height is this. The vanishing point is this, VP. That should go there. So at this stage, please don't be afraid of making a lot of mistakes. I'm trying to be careful a bit, but in a sense, this is the exploratory stage. I want this high sort of like table over here, and there would be like a bar where you can rest your foot in when you're seated. So this is the plan. So this is based on a floor plan from my previous videos, this is based on a previous sketch design development I've been doing. This is the development that I have so far, this cafe. I've also had a demonstration on how to create the exterior perspective entirely in freehand. So placing in the glass panels. Person far away. So this is a combination of something that's fairly accurate, which is AutoCAD, and then something that is loose, that is freehand drawing. The reason being is that I'm trying to create a drawing that is more of a sketch, but yet a bit accurate at the same time and believable in proportion. So the tree, the existing tree is something like here. And the roots are going to start from here. So this is open to the skyline in my design. And the plants, it's going to be here. And so this is what I see. So on the upper part is the residential, but what you see here is on the upper part. Over here is the so this is halfway here, and then I want this to be subdivided into equal panels. So I'm going to have that. To make this into vertical, project that, and somehow it's here. For the next panel, the next panel is going to be here. I'm figuring out where things are, and I'm sort of like already incorporating other architectural elements that are needed here. So this is where the eye line is. So if an attendant is over the counter, if somebody's standing here, somebody walking towards the counter, so you can see the table. So I'm already incorporating that shape for the seats. The table is going to be here on this upper part. Seat is there. So even the table design now you can incorporate, or maybe let's make it simplified for the meantime. Let's see what's going to happen there later on. The backrest. The other seat is going to be there. So other seats are there beyond the other one there. Tabletop is there. Seats. There. You can even start populating this with some people dining. The edge of that wall is there, so it's a glass wall as well. It's going to be this division. So the door behind here is going to be here, so it's going to be 2.1 meters. It's going to be a glass panel door. It's going to be like this. And then if I start doing the tiles, so this is aligned somehow going like that, vanishing points, that vanishing points, that vanishing points, radiating. So I'm not doing sort of quite solid line, or else this is going to be blackened. And then if I'm going to place in some of the fixtures, I want this directly here. So why not? Let's have a look if it's gonna work out. So the level here is just above the head, or probably just above the head here, and it's going to be slightly curving, elliptic like that. Okay, light fixture. Yeah, it can work right here. I'm following the vanishing points. It's gonna go here. The third one is gonna be there. So how many table sets? That's roughly about 3. So get the feel of that. As far as here's concerned, I'm going to create sort of like a track for some cone lights that are directional, cylindrical. Probably this other half here, I'm going to create a refrigerator display for food that are refrigerated. Something like here, you have different levels. Okay, probably these are more pastry, and then on the other part, there's supposed to be like counters where like you have your coffee maker, over here, and you have your storage for X. Okay, vanishing point is there. It has to go there. Underneath. Okay, so it's about 0.4. So at this point, slanted menus, and at this point, really, it's all about placing in the elements that you want and the scene. Yeah, so it's setting the scene here. So this one is not aligned there. There's another area where you can go through, okay, for staff to go through. So that's the kitchen or service area that's not supposed to be seen by the public. And yeah, pretty much. Somebody, okay, this is wrong. So the head is supposed to be something here, somewhere there. Okay, I don't want to place in a person here. That's too much of a distraction. And probably a potted plant somewhere here, there. Things like where you get your condiments, probably here. Maybe that's a wrong place for the plants. More of those track lights. Okay, as you go further away, you draw them smaller, and through the glass, and like, so that's supposed to be tiles, and like. So these are cabinets over here that would function as a menu on the outside, and then storage on the inside. Other people. So at this stage, I finished the initial drawing for this one, and then as far as this organic type of table that I wanted, it's supposed to be somewhere on here, somewhere there, but it won't be seen so much. It won't be noticed. Basically, I'm sort of finished with this layer, and probably, of course, I need to go on to the next layer. That's one of the wonderful things about doing this in layers. So it's not perfect at first. You know where things are and put in the details. There are certain things that I want to happen here. For example, the how are in reality, and how realistic this is supposed to be, where the ceiling here, the flat ceiling meets the glass. This has to be like a frame. You can use this initial drawing for this interior perspective as like an exploratory type of drawing, where if you want to explore elements here, and you're trying to visualize what are those elements and how they would look like. Certain things like these track lights could be placed in like that, and of course like things like the ceiling. If I draw a section of this, and this is the ceiling, how if this is the glass window and that's the outside, like I want like a light cove of sorts, so that you can place this in, and probably it's going like that. So there's a double line there, but the light fixture is something like that, and then there's another sort of light. So it has to shift like here, these light fixtures, and that becomes like a pin light placement. And you always refer back to the plan if you have doubts. Okay, so know where things are, right? So this is initial. Of course, this does not reflect the current one, but rather something that I already developed further in with the 3D AutoCAD. So this is that. Is there necessary So the question is there a necessary ceiling element that I want to place here in this plane 1? If there's a need to, like a light cove of sorts, probably, if it's surrounding this and it has this sort of like angle. This is higher a bit by this much. It's curving. The lips of this is turning like that. Yeah, this could work out as well. So it's like in the middle there, then the glass. So I'm also thinking in sections, just to look at how these things are gonna look. They're gonna like okay, plants on the background, like on the tree and on this opening here. So the lighting, if you can imagine, you have light coming in from here, then light coming in from there. So this is pretty much a very well lit sort of area or space. Anyway, once you've settled, what you want to happen here, and you're kind of confident, or if not, you go on to a second sheet and you sketch over. It's just that you try to develop these things. There's a trash can. As much as possible. So you have a registry, probably a computer register here. You could probably just to stay while you're doing this. You can stay over if you can, and it's safe. It's just cafes for a bit, for a few minutes, and observe the elements there in real cafe and how things work, like some details that you might want to put in and place into your design. So what I'm doing here is really creating this, drawing this loosely, a few shapes of cakes or pastries to scale. And if the staff is like wearing caps, so what I'm doing here is really just loosely drawing these edges, and I'm making sure to even have the corners meet, or at least meet or overlap. It's good practice for when you're trying to draw it. And I'm trying to draw them in as much as possible single line. So silhouettes of people, for example, since I already drew the initial cups. And then if you're having a hard time understanding where things are, you can always lift your page, look, and draw out what you need. Outline of this, the foot of the person, probably like this, just something simple. Silhouette of the bucket seat, the legs of that. Then here is the other person, bucket seats, the legs of the seats pointed like that. Make sure that's overlapping. Keep the other seats empty, so that's the leg of that. So this is a table. Seats again. Bucket seats. Table. Table somewhere there. Part of this is showing the pin lights partially where they are, like in between. Okay, further away. Getting glad. Yeah, probably I want this to be now pin lights. I'm doing the ellipsis. This is farther away. This is it's closer. Here. Okay, and then beyond, these are edges beyond the glass here. Don't forget place and where the frames are. These are segments of the frames, and that's the edge of these glass panels. And then, of course, later on the tree. Before that, let's start with the drawing of these higher seats. Right? So I'm trying to simplify them. Seats like this, tall, the cushion, and the table edge is coming like here, going like that. I forgot the person here. Seated, legs over there. Okay. And support for this. That's the seats. Another seat here. So again, this is just doing them by layer. Okay, just as I want to place in as much as possible details, and then at the same time, something loose, something that's so rigid. Another person seated on to this chair. Then you can't see beyond. Glass panel beyond. This is the glass door. That's the handle. Another person standing here, probably. It's a reference of somebody walking. Then these are the glass panels right here. This one. So we could show even partially some elements outside with lighter lines. So let me just complete this. So it's going to be an edge on the floor. How would the staff go out? Probably from here. There's an opening. Then probably this is not going to be there. So I'm just going to draw through this. Just to note that this is later on. It's going to be like a sort of like a door, low door. And the silhouette of a person coming in, about to order, like walking. Towards the counter. Then silhouette of the tree. So yeah, put in a bit of a branch like that. Then some of the plants on the ground. Bush beyond. Looking where the wall is supposed to stop. It's somewhere there. A bit more people on the silhouette there. From that area, some are seated, and then the edge for this one is going to be here. Yes, another light is supposed to be here. And then for the flooring, what I'm gonna do here is just do as much as possible like a very light type of line. Not much pressure to this pen that I'm using, which is a fountain pen. And really just note that these are tiled or probably wood later on. I don't know yet. Following the rules of perspective. get smaller and smaller when you go farther away, but not necessarily try to not do solid darker lines. Okay, as we go away, I'm making them lighter. I think I'm done with this. I don't want to do to overdo it, and I guess the next phase is to render this. Okay, I just need to finish this person, and then something like that. A bit more details here where the coffee machine is with a pot like that on the counter. That and some lines when, like, I don't know what. This gives me a fairly good, like, initial sketch of or feel of this cafe, of the interior space, and it's a good way to, like, you know, and it's fairly accurate because I plotted this. Of course, the initial plot is, of course, by using AutoCAD, and really the best of both worlds. All right. So when I say best of both worlds, it's accurate, at the same time it's sketchy, because I tend to not like fully computerized version, and that would take you a bit of time to do, and there's no real feeling. I mean, less feeling in terms of presenting it to a client. And really, what is important is really giving sort of like a great picture of what the proposed structure is going to be, and without visualizing it properly like this, you tend not to convince a lot of people in your proposal. So something as simple as this line drawing of an interior would make the client say yes to this, or you being sure of more about your design. You could use this as a sort of like internal conversation or thinking, or to see if this is really going to be something that you want to propose. Okay, so it's not really entirely perfect, so I've already visualized what the ceiling is going to be, more or less what I wanted, the feel of this. Some elements here. Probably I don't need that. I need something that's here. It's more of here for this fixture. So there you go. A very quick tutorial on how to really ink this and then really have those lines. We have to identify some of the lines that I used aren't the same. Alright, so some have less pressure, where things are not supposed to be emphasized, and some are really bold. If you want to see those a bit more element, like the edges. Okay, so like glass edge here are quite thin. So what I'm doing here is in even any other with any types of pens, is that you need to kind of lessen your pressure onto your paper, and you get that result. And this has a point of probably 0.5 millimeters. But what I'm trying to do here is really have a variation, so even it can go as thin as 0.1. But if I'm applying pressure on some parts, I can achieve those thicker lines. It's just a matter of really controlling those pressures. So again, this probably isn't the final. I would need to do a final sheet here in order to get those clear lines. Like, I already identified some of these mistakes. Like, that is a mistake. That's not aligned to the certain table that I want, and it's supposed to be like here. So if you have questions, by the way, you can always comment on the comment section below, and then let's start a conversation on you have further questions on some things I missed. So with that, this ends this tutorial, and see you in the next video. Bye.